Everyone has a unique gift, and Mike and Diana, host of the 1NELife podcast, believe that most people don't know how to use their gifts or what they are. Mike and Diana want you to see things from a different perspective and be true to yourself. The 1NELife podcast unites the world through art, fashion, music, and film. It inspires, motivates, and creates positive energy, love, and compassion to all communities and creates an equal playing field for all. On the 1NELife podcast, they cover topics like building relationships, overcoming adversity, habits of healthy people, and much, much more. We only have one life to live. Be yourself and live your truth. Add the 1NELife podcast to your playlist. That's the number 1NELife. Available on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and your favorite podcast platform.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to the 1NELife podcast. I am Mike M.I.C. Reed, and as always, I got my co-host Diana Gotti from the AV Wellbeing Coalition, doing it the Gotti way.
Yes, sir.
What's going on? We are live today. I'm excited about this, actually.
Hey. I wish we were live from Disneyland, but
Disney.
Here we are.
It
Lancaster
is Friday.
Boulevard.
It's a nice day, but yeah, we're on Lancaster Boulevard in the lovely city of Lancaster, Antelope Valley. What's up, AV? But we're doing something different today. Today is all about CAPP Talk.
Yeah.
You know, certified and applied positive psychology. That's all we're going to talk about today because it is still Mental Health Month, and I feel like we just need to talk about that.
Yeah.
So, but first, let's get some community news going. You said you have some things.
Well, I do. Actually, I wanted to give recognition to an amazing organization in our community, and that is Antelope Valley Community Uplift Foundation. Big shout outs to them. I know that they will be going out to a Dodger game this Saturday. That's May 13th. And I just want to say, guys, there's so many opportunities right now that our community is making available to the youth. This is a free Dodger game tickets. But what I'm mostly excited about is that they are having and hosting a golf clinic, and it's completely free, and that starts June 10th. I want to say application started April 15th. So I definitely say get out there and start following them on Instagram, social media, and that's AV Uplift. Get on there, guys. Get out there and get involved.
You know, it's crazy. Earlier, when you were telling me about that, remember when I said Uplift sounds familiar? I was like, why did that name sound familiar? That's Cedric.
Yeah.
He's in the CAPP program.
Oh, he is?
Yeah. So me and him are the only
hilarious.
guys in the CAPP program.
It is Cedric. That's
Cedric.
who I talked to.
Yeah, what's up? Shout out to Cedric, man.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That's why I was like, why did that name sound familiar?
You see what I'm saying? It's such a small world how we all kind of come in.
And he brands himself every day. So like every time I see him like on the Zoom calls and all that, he either has on a hat or a hoodie that says Uplift. That's why I knew it. I was like, where does that name come from?
That's dope. So hopefully we can get him on.
Yeah.
So he can let people know, especially with this golf clinic. I mean, Tiger Woods is or was one of the highest paying, African American golfers, and really set the bar very, very high, right. For a lot. So get out there, get involved, guys, and especially for the kids. They start at 4 years old.
Wow.
So this clinic is for children ages 4 through 17. So if you do not have anything going on this summer, I highly recommend get out there, get involved. So many programs, so many people get so much funding for programs.
It is. It's actually a lot of grants out there and a lot of money for, especially with youth.
Yeah.
It's just awareness is just not out there. People just don't know about it, and that's why we got to continue to share all this information and share the news, because there's a lot of money out there. The state gives out so much money for the youth.
Yeah, there really is. Like, for example, on Tuesday, for the sheriff's program that I'm a part of, we were talking to our SVU department, here at the Lancaster station, and it was very hard information to talk about, to take in. This is violence on our kids.
Right.
And with two of the biggest cases coming out of the Antelope Valley, it really brought a lot of awareness, that we need to make things available for our kids. We need to get them out of the house, create safe havens for them, just remind them that they are not alone, and things get better with time.
Right.
So I'm excited for this.
All right. What else?
I think that's it.
That's it?
That's it.
Well, I want to give a couple of shout outs to a few people. First of all, I want to give a shout out to my KJs of the Antelope Valley. I was going to say Queen Latifah, but she is the queen. Latifah, what's up? What's happening? Also, my boy KJ Jonathan over at the King Bar. I haven't been over there in a while, but it's summertime, so we got to make our rounds again. I got to get back out there. I haven't been karaoke in a while. I've been to Zelda's a couple of times over the last month, but it's summertime. Weather is looking better and better, so I got to get back out there. Shout out to my girl Raina over at Fusion Movement. Just want to get a shout out to a few people. My guy over at Don Sal's.
So many dope people in our community.
Yeah, because I've been over there recently. There's a lot of stuff to do out here.
Yeah, there is.
Summertime now. The farmers market is back open on Thursday nights on the boulevard.
I know. Actually, Refi Snacks. Yes, I saw that he has his snacks over at, what is it, Zero Below. There's a dessert diner here on the boulevard. Mm-hmm. It's right next to the Modern Tea Room.
Yes.
So I noticed that he does have his snacks in his store. So get out there, families. Yes. Get out there, people, and get involved in the community.
Yes, absolutely. So let's get into CAPP Talk. Brought to you by the Wellbeing Lab. So this past Wednesday, we talked about talked about more about positive emotions. We talked about the way we think. I want to do an exercise with you real quick.
Okay.
Have you ever noticed the FedEx logo?
Have I ever noticed the FedEx logo?
Yes.
Yeah, all the time.
Okay, everybody's seen the FedEx logo, right? Like a million times, right? So this exercise was a trip, because I've seen this logo a million times and I've never noticed it. So when you look at this logo, and I'm gonna put it on the screen here, what do you see? Look at this logo right here. What do you see?
FedEx. You see an arrow going to the X?
So you was in the CAPP program, so you saw this before. That's cheating.
I thought I remembered.
You remember, because right. But for the longest, because I did this exercise on somebody last night, and they didn't notice it.
Yeah.
You never noticed that arrow.
That there was an arrow there. Right.
So it's just a trip how your mind works. I've never noticed it. Now I can't unsee it. Right.
Well, that's kind of what happens with trauma at times. Mm-hmm. People can't unsee the things that have happened to them or that they continue to see until they're kind of, one, brought to awareness or removed from that, environment.
Right. So we got into this choice map.
I love that map.
Right. And it's actually a great map, because we was talking about the way we think. I always tell people, especially like when I'm having conversations with people and people trying to make a point, it's always most people get tunnel vision. Like they just see things from their point of view, right? Right. So lately anybody that I've been talking to lately, I always try to say, okay, I understand your point of view, right? Mm-hmm. So now stop looking at it from your point of view and look at it from my point of view. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's when the conversation kind of pivots. Right. And it shifts to a more healthier conversation, and then they see the difference. Right. Right. Because it is, what we see, because we deliver things and receive things differently. So people got to stop looking at it from just their point of view and open their minds. And that's why I love this choice map, because we all have a choice. We can be closed-minded. And this choice map is all about, what is it, learner path or judger path.
Right.
Like,
where you can pivot.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like a highway, you can get off the ramp or keep going on the, on the route that you're heading on. But the great thing about it is that it might be challenging at the moment, but, you can always have that pivot and turn it around to where it is that you would like it to go. But if you know that it continues to go in a circle and you have the same outcome every time, I think that's just a choice that you're wanting to make, right?
Right, it is. So, our chapter is how do we think about how we think? Think about that. How do we think about how we think? And I think once you tap into that, you really start thinking differently.
Yeah.
Right? It's all mindset. The range of what we think and do is limited by what we fail to notice. And because we fail to notice that we fail to notice, there's a little we can do to change until we notice how failing to notice shapes our thoughts and deeds.
Yeah.
That's a great quote.
No, it is. And I think we all go through that. We go through that daily. Like, is what I'm doing right now enough? Is it ever enough? Sometimes we chase our tails, wanting to do better, wanting to do enough, but we never really stop to kind of embrace where we are right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or if we're failing, are we becoming aware of what that is causing and how can I pivot, right?
Right.
To have a different outcome.
So it reminds me of, like, I think I said this quote last week, right? The Buddha quote. When we speak, we only speak of what we know. But when we listen, we might learn something, right? And just like how, and all this stuff is really connected. Like last week, we talked about mindset, fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. And if we only have a fixed mindset, then we're not open to growing. We're not opening to listen. We're just, like, again, tunnel vision. Like, it is what it is. It's the best it's going to get, right? And you're not even open to listening or learning or even growing.
Right.
So what did you, because you took the CAPP program.
Yeah.
I'm in my third week. What was your biggest takeaway?
From the whole program?
The whole program.
The whole program.
The whole program.
God, there was just so
I know you got
much.
so many, because even in my third week, I got like so many takeaways. But like your biggest one let me rephrase that. What is your biggest one that you apply on a regular now? On a regular
it's okay to not be okay.
Right.
That honestly was my biggest thing, because we're raised and we're programmed to either be okay or not okay.
Right.
It was never taught that it was okay to not be okay right now, and to not lose control.
Right.
That was the biggest, especially in Hispanic cultures, you're critiqued a lot about everything and anything that you do. So it's really hard to give yourself grace. It's really hard to, or I should say challenging, not hard. It's challenging because it's something new. It's being introduced, to be supportive of yourself.
Well, why is that? Because like one of the things that I discussed in our class the other day was, I shared, I should say, we have to be honest with ourselves first, right? And for any of this stuff to work. And I think lately I've been brutally honest with myself. Like it's hard to talk about your struggles and the things you go through, even though like in my mind, like I know everything's going to be okay. Like I've been on a mindset journey for about 4 years. Like that was the first thing that I learned, like it's okay.
Yeah.
Right. Even though I know it's okay, it's still hard for me to even discuss certain things. and I don't know why, because I know it's healthy. You should discuss it with somebody, like, if you're struggling with something, like go talk to somebody.
Well, because we were raised on shame.
Shame?
I think it's shame.
Mm-hmm.
We were taught that we should be ashamed of ourselves for behaving that way.
Right.
You should be ashamed of yourself for thinking that way. Mm-hmm. You should be ashamed of yourself for looking that way.
Right.
Shame, I think, unfortunately, was something that we're taught to know, to live by, to understand, to respect it.
Especially in men. Right?
Yeah.
Like, because men are raised to be hard, be strong, right? And, a couple of weeks ago, I went to this event, and this pastor was talking. And I have much respect for the pastor, right? But he was saying some things that I really didn't agree with, that I think that we need to stop telling our men this. He was like, our men need to stop being cowards and be stronger and start being men again. And it's like, I didn't agree with that, because you're repeating what we was already taught, and that don't work. That's why we have a lot of womanizers, a lot of women beaters. We have a lot of rapes, because you're telling men to be men and be like this strong. And it's the way he put it, like, was very discouraging to me. And I'm like, and that's why men don't open up. They're not vulnerable.
Yeah. And I mean, I wasn't at the event. So I mean, there's not much I can say, or maybe how he was referring to it. But I think because of so many different things going on in our society, happening in our world, that he might have been saying that specific, maybe comment. But sometimes I think even men, when they're saying that, I think they're trying to say something about themselves,
Right.
Maybe even encouraging himself for something that he might be struggling with, that maybe doesn't know how to process. And that's the only way he knows how to maybe uplift, and he thought to himself, well, maybe this is how I tend to feel better. This is how, what I'm going to put out. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. That's why listening is very important.
Right.
Because if you are, listening to the person you're speaking to long enough, they'll tell you what it is that they want to share, and it'll give you an understanding of what they mean.
Right.
Because everyone is going through different struggles, was raised differently, goes through different things, that we're all individuals.
Right.
But we try to, one size fits all. When you have a problem, it's like, let me tell you that one time, and that's how I was fixed, and you will be fixed that way.
Right.
Well, it doesn't work that way.
Right.
No,
and I get it, and I don't think, like, he got some backlash from it. I think he recognized that, and he tried to clean it up later on, because he sent out an email to a few of us, and I don't think he meant any harm by it. Like I said, I know I don't think he meant any harm by it, but it's the message, I think, that we put out there. Like, we really have to be careful how we put messages out there.
Yeah.
Because it, to me, and this is just me, just my opinion, it was really discouraging hearing that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, no, I don't want to teach our young men that.
Yeah.
Because that's why they grow up to be the way they are.
Yeah.
Some of them.
Yeah.
There was a different way I felt like he should have delivered that message.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, it's especially with our young men right now, trying to find their paths.
Right.
I think growing up, we had a lot of really good, somewhat role models, or people that we can like look up to and be like, I really want to be like Mike, and I don't think that a lot of our youth really have that. As simple as cartoons. I remember Captain Planet. I was just talking about to my husband about that. I was like, do you remember watching that?
Right.
Like Captain Planet, it's like he's a hero. And I remember wanting to be that way. Even Mr. Rogers, I remember wanting to talk so peacefully and just be so kind. But not a lot of these things are really, I guess, really put out there for kids to really process, or young adolescents or youth.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And then, you know, we have our, you know, sports athletes, but, you know, they're human too.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, so, you know, when kids, you know, gravitate to them.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden you see them in the news.
Right.
It's like, wow.
Yep.
But they're human.
Yeah, they are.
You know, they're not like the cartoon characters where you're creating this.
Yeah.
They're human, and you know, that's a whole nother thing.
That's a whole nother thing. But you know, it is important because it's a trickle effect.
It is.
You know, how are we supposed to raise our men? How are we supposed to raise our children? Mm-hmm. Our boys? And I think that's why a lot of these events or a lot of these organizations are important to help, you know, kind of inspire them, mm-hmm. you know, to kind of get out there. And I thought that was kind of neat for this organization to take so many kids and athletes to the big leagues,
right.
you know, to the park. Like, this could be you. You know, that player that's on that field was at one point a child just like you, went to school just like you, you know, dreamed of, you know, playing for the Major League Baseball just like you. Mm-hmm. You know, especially with social media, I think people think that this lifestyle is unreachable, but it's very much reachable.
No, any lifestyle or thing
right.
you want to do is reachable.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I remember watching, I forgot what show it was, but we all have the same 24 hours.
Yeah.
You know, anybody can be an Oprah Winfrey. Anybody can be a Michael Jordan. You know, you just got to find your gift in whatever it is you want to do and put in the work.
Yeah.
You got to show up. And I read this quote the other day. You got to show up every day no matter what.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
no matter
for
the good times or the bad times, you still got to show up and put in the work.
Yeah.
And things will get better. You know, it would all pass.
Yeah.
But everything is reachable.
Yeah, no, on Wednesday for our leadership workshop with the youth, that's what it was. We were talking about commitment,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I thought to myself, like, dang, like, these are young kids and we're teaching them about commitment and how that also comes along with character
Right.
and relation and to be successful. Mm-hmm. But there was like certain questions, like, where do you struggle? Do you struggle at trying, failing, learning, or showing up again, you know, as far as like commitment. And I think that really goes around full circle for everything that you do.
Right.
You know, like at what part is it that you learn? You know, is it from the failing part? And I really sat there and I like circled. And to me, I think the failing part is very hard. You know, I don't like to show up if I know I'm going to fail. And I don't like to fail because I don't like, you know, like people to think any less of me, you know, if that makes sense.
Right.
So it was really interesting that we were talking about something so simple as far as commitment, because a lot of the kids don't really understand how that will affect them later on in life. You know, as far as school, are you committed to, you know, activities, sports, as simple as showing up without pajamas. You know, some of these kids sometimes show up to school in pajamas and blankets. Right. Pajamas and blankets. I remember, do you remember the posters at school, Dress for Success?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't think this generation.
It's interesting.
Because they wear slides, flip-flops. Mm-hmm. They just like, whatever.
Yeah. But that's the thing, because we're enabling that. Mm-hmm. You know, like we're not investing back into rebuilding them. You know, in the morning announcements, I remember they used to say, make it a great day or not, the choice is yours. Right. And I used to remember that. Even when I was in trouble, I was like, damn, they did say the choice is yours. And my choice was not. So
let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
When we tell someone the choice is yours,
mm-hmm.
but then they show up with a blanket in their pajamas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Like I think certain times when we say things, people literally take it so literal.
Yeah.
Like it's like, no, don't take it so literal. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, the choice is yours, but look at the choice you're making.
Right.
Is that an actual good choice?
Yeah.
You know, because no matter what your choices are, like, and I tell my kids this all the time, the choices you make today is going to affect you tomorrow, the next day, a year from now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is your choice, but you also have to evaluate the choices you're making.
That's right.
So if you're not dressing for success, if you're showing up with a blanket and your pajamas, then that's how you're training your mind and your perception on how to dress for success down the line. It's going to affect you.
Yeah, I mean, I remember in school we used to dress like you had to show up to show out. You know what I mean? Like the kids that would only come to school in sweats, it's you're either gonna fight or girls going through her monthly stuff, and they just didn't want to get out of bed. They just didn't want to do anything, whatever it was. So that would be like an indicator, like someone's struggling, someone's not going through. But now it's like, dang, it's your birthday and you're in PJs.
But and it goes back to I was having this conversation with somebody the other day. Matter of fact, it was yesterday, and me and this guy was talking, and was talking about, he was saying how his wife turns on the news every single morning, right? I used to do that too. I remember years ago, I used to watch KTLA religiously every single morning. I mean, I had my TVs set, like, I don't know if people know, like on your TVs, there's an alarm, like where it cuts on automatically and it goes to the station you want it to. Yeah. I have my TV do that for KTLA every morning. But then when you turn it on, what are they talking about? Somebody got murdered. Somebody got a carjacked. There was a robbery. All this negative stuff, right? And I had to really say, you know what? Because how we talked about before on the show, when you consume all this stuff, like you really become it. Yeah. Like even for over the last couple of weeks, I haven't been on social media, even though I still do my promo posts and all that, and I check my messages every now and then. I don't really be scrolling. Because it's just so much negative stuff.
But you know what I learned is regulate the people you follow. Because like the things that I follow, sometimes I'm either laughing or learning something new or being informed.
Right.
I try not to follow too many negative people or negative things. And I try to just, I don't know how many people I follow that do balloons, that do, like fun things, or there's a lot of, people in our community that are always doing awesome stuff. So I really try my best to stay away from all of that fun stuff.
I mean, yeah. And I think like for me, like there's like, for example, I think it's AV scanner. Like, I want to know what's going on. Like, if something happens in my neighborhood, like, I want to know. So I want to be able to go to something quickly, right? So I do follow them. But I can't scroll through and watch all their stuff because it's always just car accident, murder. Like, it's like, I don't want to hear all that.
Well, truth be told, I was supposed to go on a ride-along today, and I changed it. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't go on a Friday because, everybody active.
People show out on Fridays.
You know what I'm saying? So I switched it to a weekday. And then there was another classmate that he was like, man, criminals never take a day off.
You know what? They don't. But, even like when I was growing up, I remember Fridays was a day where at least people in my neighborhood was like, hey, don't do nothing on Fridays. Because you spend the whole weekend in jail.
That's so true.
You know what I mean? It's like,
you don't see a judge till Monday.
Right. So, like, we used to be like, okay, don't do nothing today. Like, Friday was our chill days.
Shit. I need to change my day.
Like, don't do nothing on Fridays. Who wants to spend the whole weekend in jail? Because like we say, you don't see the judge until Monday.
Yeah. No, so with this community program that I'm doing with the sheriffs, a ride-along comes along with it.
I want to do a ride-along.
You know what? I just found out. So Officer Green is a public relations officer at the Lancaster Sheriff Station, and they do 2 of these community outreach programs twice a year. Okay. So the next one will be in a few months, and it's going to be at the Palmdale Station. Okay. But, like every week we talk to a different department out of the sheriff department, and then we go on a ride along. We're gonna go to the jail, and we're actually gonna fire I think we're going to fire a gun under pressure. Like, what would we do in that instance? Kind of putting us in a lot of scenarios like that they're put in. Like, are you going to shoot the victim or I guess the perpetrator, right? Or what are you going to do?
Right.
So I was like, dang, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of pressure, but I thought to myself, being a cop, it's tough business, man.
It is. A lot of people, we judge our law enforcement officers, and we don't realize the pressure.
Yeah.
Like when you roll up on a scene, you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
It's easy for someone else that's a part of the situation or that knows somebody. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I know him. I know what he's going to do, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And even with that, you really don't know.
Yeah, no, you don't.
But think of it from, again, looking at it from someone else's perspective.
Yeah.
Someone that don't know you, don't know the situation, that's just coming up on a scene. Like, I don't know who y'all are or what y'all about to do.
Yeah.
So I got to protect myself.
Yeah.
First and foremost.
Right.
Because I got to protect myself and able to help you guys. Mm-hmm. Right. So I got somebody calling me doing live. So, you know what I mean? Like, so people don't realize that.
Yeah.
So that's funny. Y'all, I'm on live right now. You can't be calling me. But yeah, again, looking at it from someone else's perspective, law enforcement officers really do have it tough because they are put in a situation where it is like seconds. Like you literally have seconds to make a decision under pressure.
Right.
And most people can't do that.
Right. And they understand that the people on the other end don't like them.
Right.
You know what I mean? And their goal is really, at the end of the day, to go home.
Right.
They really just want to go home. And
what?
It's blinking on here too.
I know.
So it's interesting stuff. It's very, very, very interesting stuff. I can't wait to do, I think we're going to do arson and homicide next.
Okay.
So that's going to be a lot of, we did narcotics the week before that. So they go over pretty interesting things.
Okay. So, I'm sorry. That kind of threw us off right now. The blinking of the phone. Somebody called me and messed up our connection.
Hey.
That was my boy Al. I know it's Friday night. He's back to his karaoke mode.
I know. Well, I know. I think it's Cycle Realm or something like that. It's going to be at the King Bar at some point during the summer.
Concert?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
I'll be there.
I know.
Shout out to my boy Sam from the King Bar. I mean, he always hooked me up with tickets, and they do some dope stuff over there. A lot of people, I know they know the King Bar from back in the day, but Sam has put a lot of money into revamping that place. It's so much better. If you haven't visited King Bar lately, go check it out. Last year concerts was pretty amazing. I went to a few of them.
I heard about them. I never have.
No, you got to go. I mean, it's so much fun. It's actually a nice place. Like I said, I think he put like $500,000. I won't tell his business, but he put $500,000 into it.
Yeah.
It's pretty dope.
I mean, I'm going to be very truthful.
Go ahead.
With my age, I enjoy hanging out at home. I really do. I
do too.
You know what I'm saying?
No, you know it's funny because I do too, and I think
that.
that's why a lot of people they've been asking me like I've been running into a lot of people lately because it's again it's about to be summertime, so people are more out now.
Right.
The weather's been great. People are like, hey, where you been? It's like I still go out. Like me and Marcy do our thing on Fridays, but we're so low key because we're older, right?
Yeah.
So we're very low key. And then we on the weekends we kind of chill at the house. We do go places, but it's like really low key. It's not like we were out there.
Like yesterday we were at Descanso Garden.
Right.
And it's funny that we were talking about that. We really were sitting down and just enjoying the moment, taking it in, and even listening to the different birds and what can we see or just be present. And it was so peaceful and so nice. And I mean, some of the things that we saw, I felt like I was like in a resort. It didn't even feel like you're in Pasadena.
The Scano Gardens is really nice. Beautiful. Yeah. I haven't been in a few years, but before COVID, but
Yeah, you always see it on social media. It's definitely a place to go and to take pictures. My goodness.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, gorgeous. But yeah, those are kind of the things I'm into.
I'm assuming all the flowers was blossoming.
Oh my God.
The rose garden,
You
everything.
smell them as soon as you walk in. Oh, I was just in love. Honestly, I didn't expect us to go there.
And that place is huge.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm telling you, we were there for about 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, that's how long it takes to walk through that whole place. It's huge.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm gonna try to go this summer.
Yeah, I think you should. I mean, I encourage everyone, get out of the house. I mean, I'm guilty. I know it. I'll be the first one to admit it.
It don't seem like that though.
I am now.
Every time I look up, you and be here somewhere.
You know what? We like to move together.
Right.
That's the difference. You won't see us with large groups like we used to. We used to go out a lot with like groups and other people. But for the most part, we're together.
But see, that's my point I was just making. Like, you don't see me in big groups no more.
Yeah.
Like if you see me out, you're gonna see me with Marcy.
Yeah.
And we're just chilling. Mm-hmm. Like, we're not in the middle of all the chaos and dance, big parties. Like, if I do go to a concert or to a party, we're in the back chilling somewhere.
Yeah. And he's like my partner in whatever, right. Like, you want to go to Dodger game? Yeah. Like, it's me and him. Right. And we have a blast.
Right.
We talk about the dumbest things and we laugh about the dumbest things. But sometimes I feel like we just understand each other. But it's not always good, because then that makes us even more dependent of each other. Yes. Because we don't know how to be around other people the way we are together. Mm-hmm. So I think I'm definitely going through that. If it's not like the kids. And now that the kids are older, I feel like Melody is more of my go-to. I tell her everything. Mm-hmm. And vice versa.
I think that's probably one of my biggest struggles.
Yeah.
I don't like being alone. Mm. I say it all the time. And even though I am alone a lot, mm-hmm. I think that's probably why I don't like it.
Really?
Yeah. I'm alone a lot. I think I have too much alone time.
I mean, I'm alone while the kids and Brian are away.
But that's not often.
Yeah. As soon as they get home, it's like, I need this, I need that, I need food, right. I need here, I need there.
Right. But see, and you live with them.
Yeah.
So that's one of the conversations Marcy and I have all the time. Like, and she understands me just like I understand her. Like, right. Like, she has a big family that she takes care of. So she has a house full of people. So when she gets home, like, sometimes she just, like, she before she goes in the house, he says sometimes she just sits in her car because she just needs to take a breather, because she's just coming from work. She has a big staff she runs. Yeah. And then to go home and you have a big household you have to run. She says sometimes she got to sit in that car for a minute and be like, okay, let me take a breath. Yeah. Let me reset before I walk in here. And I get that.
Yeah.
Like again, go to work in the morning, big staff she runs, then come home.
And rent.
A big household. It's like she don't really get time for herself.
Yeah.
But for me, it's so opposite.
Yeah.
Because I am home. I live by myself.
Yeah.
So I'm there all the time and I work for myself. So it's just me all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I saw a post that said, me picking up my kids after my 9 to 5 to clock in from my 5 to 9.
Right.
Because that's really how it works.
Yeah, it is. Like, it's a lot. And so I get it. But you got to find a balance.
Yeah, you do.
Everything is a balance. Even talking about, we were just talking about it a minute ago, about how children have to be more committed to a lot of things, right? Well, commitment is one of the biggest factors, but it's also, other things that take place in that.
Yeah.
Like I tell people all the time, if you want to lose weight, you can't just eat right and thinking you're going to lose weight. Or you can't just go to the gym and think you're going to lose weight. Like, it's a balance. You have to eat right and go to the gym and be focused and be committed. Yeah. Like, it's multiple things. It's like when you cooking, you don't just put salt in it.
Yeah.
You don't just put pepper in it. It's a bunch of ingredients, right? With everything in life, it's a balance with everything.
Yeah.
It's not just one thing.
Yeah. I agree with that.
So you just gotta find a balance.
Yeah, and we bump music when we cook.
You bump music?
Oh yeah, we can't cook without any music. I don't think we can do anything without music in our house. Music is always being played,
Right.
all the time.
Or a game on.
Yeah, no, not a sports game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sports is everything in our home.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's me. I mean, if I'm cooking, I always have to have music on or the game is on.
Yeah, yeah.
It can't just be quiet. That's kind of boring.
I know. Question to you guys: do you guys cook with? I'm like, do you guys? How do you cook? You know, what is it? What's your thing when you cook?
Some people have a glass of wine. I used to do that.
Yeah.
I used to have a glass of wine when I cooked.
That's a good
I haven't
one.
done that in a while. I gotta do that.
Yeah. I'm clearly not a wine person
Yes,
because I had a great bottle in my fridge for weeks.
Have you ever poured wine in your food as you're cooking?
No.
You know people do that.
No, for the homies. No, I don't.
No,
drop
not
any.
for the homies.
No, I don't drop any wine for the homies.
But you know
while I
they
cook.
do
No,
that.
but I get
Some like real chefs do that.
I'm not a big drinker. I don't really have alcohol in our home like that. We really don't. You know, and if it's there, it sits there.
When you at a Dodger game, you don't have beer?
Oh yeah, for a Dodger game, I actually have like a beer or two.
Or two.
Yeah, but I'm not like one that's like, yeah, I'm gonna, pound and drink. I used to drink a lot. My early 20s.
Hey, have you ever pounded beer before?
Yeah, I used to do. What are they? The the funnel cake with the.
Oh yeah.
What are they called?
I don't know what they call it. I never done it before, but I know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, I used to do those all the time. Oh my God, what did they call beer bongs?
Beer bongs, yeah.
Yeah, those are the good times.
Last Friday, me and Marcy was in my backyard and we was kind of chilling, and we were drinking beer, and I think I was slow. Cause she was like, "Will you pound that so we can go get another one?" And I'm like, "I've never pounded a beer before." And she said, "Are you?"
Hell
That's
yeah.
because I never was a big beer drinker until I met her. I was always a wine drinker or my martinis. So I never pound none of that.
Well, we were party people. So it's like you got to hurry up and pound and go in. It's like we're going to hurry up and drink, in the lot. I
don't do pound. She was trying to peer pressure me into doing it. I was like, I'm not about to do this.
I mean, we were young drinkers. I should say that. We were young drinkers that probably weren't allowed to drink. And
I'm not pounding no beers.
You know what I mean? He don't like to pound.
I'm not about to pound no beers because if I start pounding beers, something's
It's
gonna
just
happen.
not his thing.
It's not my thing.
It's not his thing.
I know my lane.
Yeah, no, those were the good days. But, when we're always in Hollywood. But
Plus, I'm too old to pound now.
I know. Everything hurts. The next morning, it's like, my back hurts, my neck hurts, and all I did was sit down and have a glass.
Have you ever? I think 2 weeks ago, we went out Friday. Saturday morning, I woke up with a massive headache. I felt nauseated. I felt like I had a hangover, right? And we could not figure out why, because only had like 3 beers. I ate that night, so it wasn't that I didn't eat, and that was it.
You know what it is? We getting old as shit.
No, seriously. We laid in bed the whole Saturday. And Marcy kept saying, like, what is wrong with you? She's like, you did not drink that much. And I was like, I know. I don't know why I feel this way. I said, did you roofie me? I said, because I ate, like, I didn't leave my beer alone. I said, you was the only one next to my beer. I was like, what did you do to me? Literally, I felt better at 7 o'clock that night, Saturday night.
Crazy. Yeah, we're up there.
Like, she had to give me medicine. Like, I was tough.
Yeah.
I don't know why, though.
Because we're up there. We have to come to that realization.
3 beers, really? Like, I do that every weekend.
You eat. You ain't cutting it like you used to. That's it. It's the truth. But it's a hard reality, like, honestly. we have to come to grips where, you know, we're kind of getting up there.
We are. I'm very, I think I gotta change my diet too.
Oh, okay.
Because it's about to be summertime, so I'm trying to get
He's trying to get bathing suit ready.
my beach bod, beach bod ready.
He said beach bod. You're not
bod.
gonna have a dad bod.
No,
You're gonna have a beach bod.
My kid.
He
kids
said
are
real
older.
quick, no, beach bod.
My kids are older, so yeah. I gotta get ready. Because I know I'm about to go to the beach, and you gotta take the shirt off, and I gotta get ready. I've been, exercising more.
You're not the ones that go out there with a full gear, socks in the pool.
Oh no. Matter of fact, that's hilarious. I told you we was at Santa Monica Beach Sunday.
Yeah.
And so these group of kids came. I guess they just came from a quinceañera.
Oh yeah.
And everybody got in the water, right? And we was just sitting there, and there's one guy, teenage guy, had on socks. And Marsha was like, I can't believe the dude got on socks.
You don't want nobody to
High top
press
socks
the
too.
SB.
High top socks.
No, he said high top. Not even
Even his
size,
friends,
high
like,
top.
because they had just got there, and even his friends, like, hey man, you want to take off your socks? And he was like, no. And he went out there in the water with socks on.
But that, I think it's lack
T-shirt
of
too.
confidence.
T-shirt too, like T-shirt and shorts.
Lack of confidence. Get out
like,
there
wow.
and just, some kids are just mean. You know, some kids
But
are
no,
just mean.
I take off everything. I don't mind.
Yeah. No, speaking of quinceañeras, my son was in his first one. And we, over the weekend, past weekend, and it was actually really nice. I've never seen my son dance.
Really?
Yeah, it was a trip because he's usually pretty mellow. Tired, I want to go home kind of deal.
Right.
And this time, we had to come back for him. He was like, "Oh, I'm not done," and I was like, "You're not?"
Did he have some tequila?
I don't know, but I think he did have a drink or two or
He
something
had a
because he
drink.
was real chipper, you know.
Wow, that's hilarious.
So he had a really, really good time. But I told my husband, you know what? I'm glad that he's not shy and he's not willing to try something new, especially at these days. One of the other gentlemen was actually dancing with two girls. I was like, okay, go ahead now with your best self. So it was the funniest thing when we came back. I thought my son would have been like at his friend's house playing games or something, but his friend's dad was like, oh, do you see your son? Like, he's out. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe my eyes. But
that's good. He having a great time.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good.
Quinceañeras are a lot of fun. I was talking to my mom about it. I go, it kind of sucks that a lot of kids or girls or parents really don't want to celebrate it, but it's also a part of our culture. I feel that our generation is kind of stepping away from our culture, our Hispanic heritage, or, things like that.
What the kids are?
I think the kids and some of our generation,
Okay.
They're like, oh, I didn't have one, so you shouldn't have one. But it's not that. I think it's the symbol of that. It's from a girl to a young lady.
Right. They're taking a tradition out of it.
They're taking the traditions out
because
of it.
they didn't have it. So
yeah.
But is it because? But do you think it's more of a financial thing?
Because
those things are expensive.
They can be very expensive. The one we went to was really nice. It was at a home. There wasn't like all crazy, to it. It was really nice and simple. I clearly I wasn't a part of the finance budget, but it didn't seem that there was a crazy budget.
Quinceañeras are more than a wedding.
I think it depends.
The one my son was a part of last summer was at a ranch where they had the horses, the big stage, the band, everything. Whoa. And they had been saving for years for this.
Oh, yeah. That'll probably be us. You know what I mean? When my daughter's time comes. But that will probably be us. But another thing that's part of our culture, it's you got to have padrinos, right. You got to have someone to sponsor that or to be a part of this. Even Filipinos, they do it for the 18th, the debut, I think different cultures go through different things like that. But whatever it may be, Jewish have the bar mitzvahs. It's a lot of culture that comes to this. But not only that, gives the kids confidence.
Right.
Confident builders. So it was a lot of fun. And, even my husband and I were saying like, dang, it's been a while since we've been to like, a nice party like this. But it was really nice to see the people dancing and, having a good old time. So it was a lot of fun. I can't wait for my daughters. It's in 2 years.
How is Melody?
She's going to be 13 actually in 2 weeks.
And so she has what?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're already planning it out. She wants to have like 2 dresses.
She want a wardrobe change?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Melody's a diva. My son calls her Mellow Diva.
Mellow Diva.
Mellow Diva. Oh, yeah. She wants to have like an old gangster kind. I mean, of course, our last name is Gotti.
That'd be dope. Like a 20s theme.
Yeah, she's like,
that.
I want to, all that real nice class, real suit. Ooh, yeah. Old classic cars. So I told my husband we're gonna have barrels of whiskey, That'd be fun, right?
That's funny.
Really go back in time with this.
Right.
So it should be a lot of fun.
Cool. I can't wait for it. I know I'm gonna be there.
Oh yeah, that's hands down. We don't know where the location will be, but it's gonna be a lot of fun. I just think it's good that people celebrate. May it not be that big, or may it be as intimate as you like, but I think coming together, it's healthy for families to spend time, celebrate, dance. It's a jolt of joy. It pulls you out of a languishing state. It gives people something to laugh about, smile about, talk about. So it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy parties. I really enjoy celebrations. Just like, for example, Pretty Little Puppy, they had their 1 year anniversary. It's a celebration.
Right. You know what? I think, even just talking about that, I think I have to get back into my positive emotions, my jolt of joys. I think this week was kind of long and rough because I'm doing a lot.
Yeah.
Like I'm taking the CAPP class, I'm still taking my real estate class, I'm doing the show, I'm doing, work on top of that.
Yeah.
I'm juggling a lot. And I think I haven't had any jolt of joys this week. Come to think about it, everything's just been constantly like go, go, go.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's important. I definitely encourage people to call someone up and set up a date, hook up, rekindle your relationship, friendships, spark a conversation, make new memories, have something to look forward to, build on that. It doesn't have to even be set in stone. Just getting the excitement or having something to look forward to. I think it's very important.
Right.
Well,
I mean, I have things. Excuse me. I have things that I look forward to every weekend. I think my weekends are. I think over the last couple of months, I've established my weekends are I want to call it reset days.
Yeah.
Where I disconnect. And I just kind of reset and get ready for the week.
Yeah. I mean, like yesterday, I was away. I'll be completely honest with you. My phone might have been on me, might have not been on me. I wasn't really, too dependent on it. And it felt good.
Right.
It really felt good to just disconnect. So there's a lot of people walking around at these gardens, and I overheard this one couple saying, even people in the Holocaust would find something, like just nice to embrace the beauty of it. Kind of like what we were doing in the garden, just to keep them sane, just to have a jolt of joy, to ignite that spark of hope. And I don't think a lot of us tend to do that. I'm guilty of it as well. There's times that I just don't really want to, but then I recognize I'm probably in a little languishing state. I need to, have a little jolt of joy,
right,
to pull out of that.
Some people just don't know. I mean, some people just, honestly just don't know how to pull out of it.
Yeah.
Even though we know it's going to pass, but in the moment,
Yeah.
it's such a chaos in your brain and in your mind that you just don't. Some people don't know how to.
Yeah.
Because it's hard.
Yeah.
Especially when you're so overwhelmed or your mind is so clouded with things. You don't know how to stop it.
Yeah. It's so true. Yeah. I always say the devil is a liar. We're programmed for negativity. Mm-hmm. We're always going to really, we'll even do it ourselves. We'll co-sign ourselves like, that's right, you didn't do shit. You know what I mean? It's like when I see it, well, you're going to co-sign it and be like, yeah, that's right, you really didn't. Like you ain't shit. And it's so easy to even beat yourself up.
It is. I had one of those days this past week, and I literally, and I do this, and it doesn't happen often. When I have days like that, I literally go home and go to sleep. Mm. Like if there's nothing I can do, I try all my jolts of joys and my positive emotion stuff. I try to do things, but if it's not happening, I go home and I go to sleep. And I went to sleep early. I think it was Tuesday night. I just went to sleep.
Yeah, and sometimes that's okay. Remember, depressed could be a deep rest.
But right.
A deep rest.
The downfall for me is when I go to sleep early like that, then I was up at 3 a.m.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and I was like, shit.
What's
and
up?
I couldn't go back to sleep. So I was up Wednesday the whole day like that.
And it's okay.
Like, oh, shit. Going to sleep.
Yeah.
Because I went to sleep like at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. And that's super early for me.
Dang, that's about the time I'm like.
I don't go to sleep till like midnight, 1 o'clock.
Oh, no.
So that was super early for me. And that's why, hence, I was up at 3. So my body was like, okay.
Oh, no. See, I can't do that. I respect my sleep. I like my sleep. Well, shit, I was doing things and I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a quick nap before I come up to the bottom. I need to gather myself. I respect that, and I actually felt great. I think that's why I came in here. I was like, hey, what's going on? This and that. I feel more engaged, more alert.
Right. Well, no, yeah. I mean, I did too.
Oh, yeah. When I got home yesterday, my daughter was like, you want to go park? I said, girl, I've been walking all day. I'm good. Hell nah. That was a strong no. But big up to my husband. He's amazing. He's like, I'll take you. I was like, yeah, go ahead. Have fun.
Had enough walking.
I've had enough walking, so.
All right, so you want to close this out?
Yeah. So today's crush goal is, and it comes from Heather Havrilisky, something like that. The question of your worthiness is not on the table at all. You know what you want. Embrace that and stand up for it without huffing and spraying paint. Ugh. Let me go back. Embrace that and stand up for it without huffing and spray paint that everyone else is huffing. That does not make sense. The question of your worthiness is not on the table at all. You know what you want. Embrace that and stand up for it without huffing and spray paint that everyone else is huffing. I know huffing and puffing.
Well, it's huffing like...
I guess.
Like when people do that?
Yeah, I guess.
Is that what huffing means?
Mm-hmm. So stand up, y'all, without huffing.
Some new generational person made that word up.
Crush your goals. Crush your goals without huffing.
What's your takeaway from that?
So my takeaway is, I like the beginning though. Uh-huh. The question of your worthiness is not on the table at all. And that is, yeah, and I think that's so true because I think we all deal with worthiness at some point in time,
Oh, if we question our own worthiness?
Yeah, it's definitely not on the table. It's up to you. And I'm so guilty of it. Sometimes I question myself, what is it that I'm doing? Am I doing enough? Am I not doing enough? So I do struggle with that, but in reality, I'm doing more than enough because that's all I can do.
You know what? Who was I talking to? I was just talking to somebody about that. I talk to a lot of people, you guys. So I'm always referencing somebody I was talking to. Then I forget who I was talking to. But I was talking to somebody about that. I think last week was another rough week for me. I've been having these rough weeks. But I questioned myself. And I think I do that because, so this podcast, everybody knows is new. Like, so last week was my year anniversary. And I had said, I'm going to give it a year commitment, right? So I committed myself and I said, I'm going to give it a year, then I'll reevaluate it. I think after the pandemic, when I kind of retired from TV, I jumped into my own brand. And, I was talking on the class about it. But anyways, I created my own brand and I've been doing this. And it's ever since you came along, it's kind of like just been all me, right? So, I mean, but nothing seems to, in my mind, nothing seems to be working the way I wanted it to. And I know, like, somebody was telling me the other day, I was talking to, they was like, oh, no, but, your show is good. I'm a fan, I like it. And I was like, yeah, I know, but I wanted it to be so much further along. Like, how they say if your dreams doesn't scare you, they're not big enough.
Right.
Well, my dreams scare me because they are huge. So my goals are huge, right? And I'm not doing nothing different than when I was in TV. Yeah. So I question myself because I'm like, okay, for 35 years in TV, this worked.
Right.
Why isn't it working now?
Right.
Like, what am I doing wrong? Yeah. And somebody told me, they was like, well, when you was in TV, you had a big team. True. So I wasn't doing everything myself.
It's so
now,
true.
Now that I'm doing things myself, it is different.
Yeah.
And I got to recognize that and remember that it's only been a year. I do got to give myself grace. But in the moment last week, I wasn't giving myself grace, and I was just like down on myself because I was like, wow, I should have been further along. But it's only been a year. Not
even marriages or relationships, are going to be successful the first year. In fact, so much happens within the first year.
Well, yeah, but it goes back to how we say we don't follow our own advice, right?
Yeah,
if I'm talking to a business person, I'm like, it takes 3 to 5 years to build a business.
He's over here like,
look at me complaining after the first year. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, we don't follow our own advice. And I'm first to admit that. I can sit here and give great advice to people, which I have, but for some reason, and I've always known this, my executive when I was in film, he used to tell me that. He was like, Mike, why you don't follow your own advice? He used to tell me, like, he was like, man, I sit in my office and I listen to you teach these what do you call it? Interns. I used to have interns. And he was like, man, I can hear you tell these interns, do this, do that, do that. And then I see you go to your work and it's like, you don't follow your own advice. I was like, I know. That's my biggest problem.
Yeah.
I do not follow my own advice.
Yeah, it's so true.
I don't know why.
Yeah. Oh, Monique says, we are constantly waiting to speed the process instead of allowing the process. It's so true.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
And I know I struggle with that because I'm constantly wanting things to be where I know they can get to.
Yeah.
Like I want it there already.
Yeah.
Right. But I forget about the process in between.
Yeah. Patience is key.
Well, that's the thing. I do have patience.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm like that.
Oh, I think it's control as well, though. Mm-hmm. Yes, we might have patience, but losing control. I think we like to have control of things, and when it's out of our control, our patience is then really put to the test. Are you really patient? Can you genuinely say you're patient when you're only patient when you are in control? But when you're not in control,
then I have no patience.
Then you have no patience, right?
That is true. That, you know what? Again, see, I never looked at it from that perspective.
It's the control part.
Right.
Because I've said this a lot. I am a control freak. Or I should rephrase it. I should say I don't like to drink because I am a control freak. Because when I drink, I lose control, or I don't have full control of my choices, my body, whatever it is that I'm going to do. That's why I don't like to do it, because when you drink, you tend to lose control, or you lose, of whatever it is that you want to do. That's why you end up in certain situations or driving, you say things, they always say beer balls kind of deal. That's why I don't like to do it. I rather know what it is that I'm getting myself into, who I'm around, what I'm going to say kind of deal. So I think that's the reason why I don't like to drink. Because I used to say a lot of
You're a wild drinker.
I'm a happy drinker.
You're not a happy drunk. That statement did not.
I am. I'm too happy. I used to get in trouble because I used to make friends everywhere.
Oh.
I would come out of the restroom and tell my husband, "Look, I met so and so.
Look at our new best friend."
Yeah, and then someone's completely drunk. You know what I mean?
Shit. But no,
So
but
it's
you know
a lot of
what?
good times.
What you said just made sense, and now I have a better perspective. You're right.
Yeah.
When I'm not in control, I don't have patience. But when
Right.
I'm in control, I do have patience. Wow.
Yeah, and that's something that we all, I think, kind of struggle with.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, no, let's be patient. Let's try to, allow things to be.
Right.
So I'll leave you with that.
No, you just did. Wow.
Yeah. See what I mean? Then are you really patient?
Right. Am I really patient?
You know what I mean?
I think, right. And I will admit, I think I'm patient with certain things, but with other things, I'm not.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about it right now.
Yeah, because you're not in control of it.
Because I know how things can be and where they should be.
Yeah.
And I just want them there faster.
Yeah. Doesn't work that way.
I know.
It's going to come when it
It's
comes.
going to come when it comes.
Yeah.
Who said that?
Me.
No. I can't read on my glasses.
Oh, just allowing is the key word.
Allowing
Yes.
is the key.
Yeah. Shout out to my friend Momo. That's actually one of my childhood friends.
What up, Momo? Allowing things to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, that's it right there. Allowing things to
it.
be. Certain things I get that with. Other things I'm like, well, no, because I know where it should be.
Yeah. But you can't control
I
that.
need it to be there right now.
No, my friend. You can't control that.
I know.
Yeah. You
That's my
really
problem.
genuinely can. Even in relationships, if a person's gonna walk, they're gonna walk. Doesn't matter what you possibly do. There's nothing you can possibly do. It's gonna be what it's gonna be.
Right, but see, I understand that, right? Because I say this a lot. My whole thing is I always say, accept life for what it is, not what you want it to be. Accept people for who they are, not what you want it to be.
Right.
So in those situations, like I get it, right? But it's just certain situations where it's like, I just need this situation to be here because I know that's where it belongs and I know it's going to get there.
Right. But then that's when you create frustration.
Right.
So then you really can't complain about frustration because you're creating it.
I'm creating it.
My friend.
See,
Telling you.
that's why you're here.
Wise words
That's why
from
you're
Mrs. Gotti.
Do it the Gotti way.
Doing
That's
it
why
the
her
Gotti
thing
way.
is doing it the Gotti way.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know how else to do it, just my way.
No, that's right.
You know, there is no right or wrong.
So,
All right.
y'all.
Well, this was fun. This was a trial, guys. It won't always be live, but due to circumstances.
We might switch to that format soon. We just got to work out the
Figure
kinks
it
and the bugs. Yeah, but I actually want to do more lives and eventually get this show on live.
Yeah.
I actually do.
Well, let's
Especially
see
with our guests.
Yeah, let's see what people say.
It'll be fun.
Yeah. All right. Well,
All right.
it's been
So
fun.
we out of here. Thanks for tuning in, everybody that tuned in, and be well.
Be well, y'all. Now I get to go play. What is it? From my 2 to midnight. My mom. I have to go to my mommy duties. To go pick up kids.
Stupid.
Carpool. Feed.
Oh, you about to go carpool? All right.
So, all
All right,
right.
y'all. Be well. We out.
Be well.